It's live from London. It's Car-Boyz. Yeah. We are live. Hello, world. Hello, Web. We are live from London, contrary to popular belief.
We got there in the end.
Yeah, we got there in the end. Yes, we did. We had a few problems to start off with, none of which, because of the magic of the Tinterweb and television, you actually saw. So, yes, we returned to the airwaves again, fresh and ready to rock and roll with another roundup of news and views from the world of motoring. This is Car-Boyz. We are back with another hour or so of rip-roaring car entertainment, fit for the whole family. Maybe not the children, though, or grandma, because we may say we and this week, bad words, we have all the fake news to print in the news. We have all the correspondence in the mailbag. This week, it's an overflowing mailbag. And what would the show be without our weekly quiz? On the program today, I shall be in the role of 1980s games show host, fake tan, at least 3 ex-wives, and a summer season in Great Yarmouth. Yes, your quiz of the week is on your marks. You may know lots about cars, but can you name the brand? If we give you the model, for example, the Cortina is, of course, a car made by the brand Ford, and the Marina is a skip made by socialists in the West Midlands, or at least it was 40 years ago. And we shall be testing your little grey cells.
Ooh, grey cells. There's at least not grey hair. I've got a bit of that going on.
No, steady. Well, don't tell me where it is.
It's the grey thing between my ears. That's what it is. That needs testing. Yes, 1, 2, 3. In fact, it may need a full service and a full MOT. Coming up on the show this week, we take a look at the Tainted Roads with a couple of great routes on the lost highways. And we have an amazing heritage vehicle in our classic car selection. This week, we go all Italian and prove that actually Italian cars, some of them aren't that bad. It is a classic coupe from the 1990s. We saw one of these at the motor show. And
we did. It wasn't too rusty.
That's the one I'm going for. It's from an iconic brand. But before you ask, no, it's not a Fiat Strada. No. I do like the Strada though. But strangely, Strada is street in Italian. That's what it means, Strada.
I didn't know that.
Which is what you'd be walking down if you ever bought one of these and pushing it.
Waiting for the AA van to arrive.
Yes. Car selection is much more exciting than that. And we'll be asking the age-old question of where do all the traffic cones when they're not being used? And the answer, of course, is alongside the M1.
Yes, as I found out last Sunday. The roadworks on the M1, Britain's first motorway, which have been going on, I think, now for 14 years.
Yes, with an average speed of 50 miles an hour.
50 miles an hour, yes.
Oh, yeah. So stay tuned for all of that and more. I'm Simon Swindleman and Batman. Batman.
Yes, of course. Simon Suju on there, folks, who's in the running to be the next Batman. Not so much of a dark night, more of a dusky sunset. I think I could just get away with that. Or Robin. Would you fancy being Robin?
Either way, I'll have to put my underpants over my my
over your face, over your clothing. Yes, you do that anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
And I'm Richard Water, Richard Green, and
Richard Water.
Yes, we all came down to Montreux on the lake beneath, on the Lake Geneva shoreline.
Stupid guy with a flare gun. That's what happened.
Yeah, I think Funky Claude was running in and out, pulling kids out of the ground. And Frank Zappa and the Marvels were there, at the best place around. I could go on all night. They burnt down the gambling house, It died with an awful sound. This, of course, is Car-Boyz.
Or Fire in the Sky.
There was Fire in the Sky and Smoke on the Water, strangely enough. Yes, I do. I do know that song. Strangely enough, not strangely enough, the song "Smoke on the Water" by, of course, Deep Purple. It's Car-Boyz. This is Car-Boyz. Welcome to the show. We're finally here. It's time for Richard's take now, when I take a sideways view of the world from my own weird and, to be honest, warped perspective. This section of the show. Sorry, I'm standing on a guitar. I just meant to pick it up because it's not mine. It's my daughter's very expensive guitar, and if I damage that, she'll not be happy. Wasn't expensive. It was about £8. Yes, time for Richard's take. This section of the show is a totalitarian part of the show where I reign supreme as El Presidente, the Führer, and the Ayatollah. Rather apt in light of what's happening in Afghanistan. This week, my take, we're taking a look at whether we're being sold a big crock by environmentalists in regard to electric cars, bikes, and scooters. I think you know where I'm going with this if you've watched this show before. It comes this week as we have power station news. And I'm not talking about the Robert Palmer project of the mid-1980s. No, the National Grid Electricity System Operator, also known as HESO, called on EDF's West Burton A, which is a coal-fired power station, to come online for the first time in 6 months on Monday of this week. The Lincolnshire plant had been offline and on standby since March. EDF confirmed that the plant had been called into service. They've made 2 units at West Burton available and have generated to help them balance the UK electricity system in order to ensure a secure supply of electricity. Market watchers have attributed the use of coal this week to low wind generation and surging gas prices. Oh, those Russians, which have made gas-fired generation exceptionally expensive. It's also driven up household energy bills, as we all know about that. National Grid said its balancing decisions are made on the basis of cost and not generation type. So you want to be green and you want to drive an electric car, but now you know that electricity for that car is coming from fossil fuels. Even better news, as we no longer produce coal in this country. So the coal for the power station has been shipped in from abroad, and not on the backs of unicorns, I'm afraid, or via the tears of polar bears, but in cargo holds of ships that don't do many meters, and I did say meters, let alone miles to the gallon. This stuff really writes itself, doesn't it? Maybe it'd be more environmentally friendly to buy a petrol car. It'd certainly be a lot simpler. And also in the news this week, we saw a picture that took us back. Well, this is 1915. This picture, so it's 106 years ago. And how they were trying to make transport more eco-friendly and, more importantly, during the Second World War, or First World War, I should say, cheaper. This picture shows the German company Krupp, who manufactured a strange-looking scooter from 1915 to 1922 called the Autoped. Does it look familiar to you? Yes, it does. This is a picture of Lady Florence Norman, a British activist and suffragette, travelling to work on one of the first ever motorised scooters in London, circa 1916. Not quite sure how she got hold of this, considering there was a war on between Germany and the UK in 1916. But anyway, she was later run over by a trolley bus when the front wheel got stuck in a tram line. I'm joking. She didn't really. She probably died of TB or something like that. Now, the Autoped was an early motor scooter or motorized scooter manufactured by the Autoped Company of Long Island, New York. That's how she got one. From 1915 to 1922, the driver stood on a platform with 10-inch tires, operated the machine using the handlebars and the steering column, pushing them forward to engage the clutch, using a lever on the handlebar to control the throttle, pulling the handbars and the column back to disengage the clutch and apply the brake. After riding, the steering column would fold into, this is like an electric scooter of today, would fold into the platform to store the scooter more easily. The engine was 4-stroke. Oh, I bet that smoked a bit. And a 150, it's quite powerful, 155cc engine on the front wheel.
Wow.
So it's not. They did also make electric versions of the Autoped, which were equally as unsuccessful. It came with a klaxon horn, and it was developed because of wartime gasoline rationing, as we say in this country, petrol. So why don't they make transport like this? Well, I'll tell you why. It rains in the UK, and this sort of transport is pretty dangerous. You'd be better off in a motorbike or a motor car. 2 weeks ago, we were both at the British Car Show in Farnborough, and we were laughing hilariously at the exhibition about early electric cars, which included the Sinclair C5. There was a picture of it on the Facebook website of me sitting in it. And I think in 20 years' time, the current vogue for electric scooters will be equally as laughable. And in regard to firing up coal-fired power stations, because we don't have an electricity to use in our electric cars, I have a great solution. It is called the internal combustion engine, and it can run off hydrogen, which produces no toxic exhaust and I believe is carbon neutral. Simon, please discuss.
I was watching a very famous internet motoring American. I think he's American.
I think he's Canadian.
Oh, okay.
He's Canadian from Toronto. Scotty.
I think he said that Toyota developing a hydrogen cell vehicle. So they're on it. I followed
it. If you were keeping an eye on the websites this week, I put a picture of a Toyota Mirror, on which is I think from 2018, which is a hydrogen cell powered car. But I don't think it works in the same way as what I've been talking about is using hydrogen in current cars. Literally, put an extra gas tank in the back. The Mirror has a battery. Let me get it right. So that the hydrogen runs the electric motor.
Right.
I don't really see the point. Why don't we just put hydrogen in like petrol cars? You literally
thought that would make sense.
You can keep your old petrol tank. You get a switch. It's like the old LPG, but you need to take up some space in the boot for the hydrogen tank. But they're not that big. And
I think, if I'm not mistaken, they used to put the tank in the space where the spare wheel was.
Even better, because nobody gets a spare wheel anymore, do they?
Exactly.
And then round town you can use hydrogen, and you go, oops, I've run out of hydrogen. I'm on the motorway. Flick across. I've got petrol. And the next time you go up, you fill up your hydrogen and you fill up your petrol, and everybody's a winner. So to me, that would be there's no having to produce batteries. There's no having to buy a £60,000 electric car. There's no wastage. It's all pretty good. There's not anything that says to me there's a negative here. Maybe somebody can't make a lot of money. Maybe that's the negative.
The byproduct of that is water.
Water.
That's
in fact, the mirror I followed I couldn't see a visible exhaust.
Oh.
So maybe it's right underneath. I didn't see the exhaust on the back, so there you go. That is, I moan about it every week. I just love this story of this from 106 years ago, and the fact we're putting coal-fired power stations back online, which is
we've said it before and said it again. We do not produce enough electricity to sustain this.
No, and they're having this problem in California, and the big issue is storage. As we all know, you cannot store. There's no batteries to store electric. So when California, which is a sunny place, produces too much electric, it has to quickly sell it off to fellow states. It has no way to store this. So when it has night, you don't produce, and that's when you need the electricity. It's almost like you have to produce it. You have to use it as you're producing it, and that just it doesn't work. Shall we have some news?
Let's have some news.
News.
And first off, in Weasel Piss becomes new unleaded news. It's goodbye to the old unleaded and hello to the new unleaded petrol, which contains 10% ethanol or ethanol from this month. I think it was the 1st of September it was introduced. As we increasingly replace the existing standards, which is E5, which is only 5% ethanol in unleaded pumps at the filling station. Yes, I've seen one pump. I've been to the petrol station once so far this month. I've seen one pump with it. The government is pushing E10 in a new initiative to help reach its carbon targets. It claims that ethanol or ethanol, which is derived from crops such as wheat and grains such as sugar beet, is significantly cleaner than fossil fuels because burning it creates less carbon dioxide. Ministers enthusiastically predict that the change in ministers. They're not scientists, but ministers enthusiastically predict that the change to E10 could cut our nation's CO2 emissions from transport by 750,000 tonnes per year, the equivalent of taking 350,000 cars off the road and replacing them with scooters. They add the rise in petrol ethanol levels will also increase the cost of driving for many. Worse, it could leave huge numbers of motorists with damaged vehicles or useless ones which cannot use the fuel because the engines are too old. I did notice a couple of weeks ago a small blip where unleaded petrol, as far as I can remember, for the first time was more expensive than diesel.
Ooh.
Just before it was introduced. It's funny. It's got less actual oil, so less petrol in it,
Yes.
but the price hasn't really come down. But hey,
You'd have thought it
E10
would come down by 5%.
yeah, you'd have thought so. E10 could also be destructive on vehicles built in the last 20 years. The general rule of thumb is that any car that is registered before 2002, remember then, could be at risk if they use the E10 petrol and should be checked for compatibility. That said, only since 2011 that has been the rule for new cars sold to able to run on E10. If you have a vehicle that's older than 2011, it's worth verifying that the greener fuel is recommended for your motor. Over 98% of petrol cars in the UK can run perfectly well on E10, but some older models, let's get this straight, there's roughly 120 million cars in this country,
Okay.
and they're saying that 98% of petrol cars can run perfectly well. I don't think so. But some older models, classic cars and motorcycles shouldn't use it, according to AA technical specialist Greg Carter, who listens to the show all the time. Can my car cope with the new Weasel Press E10? Well, let's have a look. There is a government address which you can look this up. This is www.gov.uk/check-vehicle-E10-petrol. Or just put in check vehicle E10 petrol.
Now I'll quickly do the rundown. Audi pre 2009 you need to look at. BMW all models apparently are compatible.
Oops.
Really? Citroen from the year 2000 they're okay. Ford apparently from 1992 they're okay.
That's impressive.
I'm really impressed. Well,
Stone Age mechanics.
Yeah, I was going to say it proves they've been using plastic and rubber in their car instead of metal and brass for a long time.
Yep.
Ford, except the Mondeo 1.8 SCI from 2003 to 2007. Honda, good from 2000. Jaguar from 92. Mercedes from 2006. Mini, Ford, parts bin. Mini from 2000. Nissan from 2000. Peugeot from 2000. Porsche from 98, except the Carrera GT. But if you drive a Carrera GT, I imagine you're using expensive unleaded on it, not the weasel piss. Renault from 2004. Toyota from 2009. Vauxhall from 2011. Volvo 2000. Volkswagen from 2007. According to their data. What worried me as well, petrol garden mowers and other machinery such as trimmers and leaf blowers could be rendered inoperable because the engines cannot cope with the new fuel. Frighteningly, so it's 90 RON. At the moment, we're running on 95 RON. Yes. So 90 RON, which is 90% petrol and 10% ethanol, can go off within 2 weeks.
Ooh, so I have don't go on holiday.
No, I have a petrol leaf blower and I have a petrol, start to go off. I have a petrol leaf blower and I have a petrol lawnmower. So I put ordinary unleaded into those, but you do have to put an additive in. You have to put a petrol additive to stop it going off. Then you can get a couple of, because you go down the garage and you get a tank and then you go, Right. This is going to last 2 years with a little 5 litre tank. So what I need to do is put a little bit of this ethanol stuff in. This not ethanol, sorry, I should say. This additive and as Briggs and Stratton. Actually, there are other brands. You put that in, and I'll get 2 to 3 years out of petrol because petrol does go off from the moment you put it in your car. That's quite frightening. The reason we call it weasel piss is you can't run car in Australia. My brother's out in Australia. He used to drive a Golf GTI, and it wasn't performing very well. It was a new one, and the mechanic went, "Are you putting weasel piss into this, mate?" And he's like, "What do you mean? I'm just using the cheapest petrol." "Nah, you can't run it on weasel piss. That's for rice burners. That's for jet cars."
Like the racist Australians.
It's Australian, isn't it? Can't put that in the Germans don't like it anyway. The squareheads bloody hate that.
I've been on some forums for my vehicle, which is a 2010 Mini, and of course I only use a high octane, the higher version, the super unleaded. Yeah,
I've got a rice burner, and I'm cheap, so I do.
But some people are saying that they have been putting normal E10 petrol in it, and they're getting as much as 10% less fuel economy. It's savage.
So what is the point?
Yeah. So you actually put in
really?
Yeah. Seriously, there. I also did a bit of research last night, and yes, lots of people are complaining that they are getting very, very savage fuel economy with this new petrol.
Which makes me think: is it worth going and getting the Super Leaded Plus and sticking that into your car?
Yeah, which is, I think that's 98, 99. The one I've been using has been 99.
So maybe I'll switch over to that, because if I get better fuel economy out of it, it's the difference in price.
Yeah, I'd say try it out. Try it out on the normal weasel piss, and then see what happens. But lots of people complaining. Very, very, very bad fuel economy.
I tend to do one tank out of every 3 is the expensive, just because I treat the car a bit, and I maybe it's a mental thing. I think performance is better. I notice a little bit better, a little bit more kick down, but then I'm mostly just trekking around London. Who gives a shit? Yeah. But if you're talking about, then what's the point of this? It doesn't make any sense, does it?
Which is why I'm saying, therefore, the fuel cost should go down.
Yes,
but it hasn't, because if you're using more of it and the content of petrol in that volume of fuel, you're still paying the same price, same tax.
And all we know at the moment is it doesn't affect cars of this age, but we don't really know that because nobody's tested this. So maybe it does affect the quality. Listen, years ago I worked in a garage, and one of the guys that worked there was nearly 90, and but he'd previously been a chemist with British Petroleum in the 50s and 60s, and he never ran his car on anything, and he ran it on leaded, and then when they dropped that, he was like super unleaded, and he just said, I wouldn't run it on anything less. I used to be a chemist for BP. Everything else is complete crap, and it ruins your car. Yeah. He actually worked in the industry, so there you go.
One thing I will say is, because we were talking about keeping your car filled with fuel so the fuel pumps don't burn out and things like that. I would say run it down a bit and put some of the new petrol in just a little bit, so obviously you don't have to do so much.
Yes.
If you have to go, right, actually I need to put a tank of super in it.
You're making me think now whether to switch to super unleaded and commit to it.
I've pledged my soul to super unleaded.
And you do a lot more mileage than me. Meanwhile, staying in news, and in the South Shall Rise Again news, the iconic symbol of all things southern in the United States was nearly destroyed this week by Hurricane Ida on Sunday. As the storm battered Louisiana, one of the most famous residents, a car called the General Lee, of course, from the TV show Dukes of Hazzard, was crushed by a falling tree. The replica motor is owned by the star of the 1980s hit TV show, John Schneider, who used it as a stunt car on his TV production set. He told the Daily Mail newspaper, "Oh, I can bang out a few dents," he said. "This car is me. going to straighten it out because I believe people who have no scars shouldn't be trusted. So he's going to leave a few of the dents in it. Good man. 61-year-old actor played Bo Duke in the hit show. I used to love this show when I was a kid. I didn't really, although it'll never come back. Not with the what does they call it? The
flag.
The flag on the top, the Southern Cross. They don't like that down there.
Yeah.
Well, they do. That just certain people don't like it. And he's trying to rebuild his hurricane-hit film studio in Louisiana that remains underwater. The TV show, which ran from 1979 to 1985, was set in the Deep South and featured New York-born Schneider alongside Tom Wopat playing his brother Luke, Catherine Batch as the leggy cousin Daisy Duke. Hang on. Yes. Hello. I'll just let that sit there for a moment.
No, don't.
And if you pray, pause, and you're finished. And all the just press pause. Okay. All the cars in the show were modified Dodge Chargers based on a 1969 model, of which 329 were used and many destroyed. So this is one of the many.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. I did love the TV show. They used to fire arrows out of the window on fire.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And exploding arrow, or maybe exploding arrows as well. So there it is. There's the General Lee with a flag on the roof that can't. Surely they could just remake this, but get rid of the flag. Because I mean.
Yeah, and just put was it 01 was the number on the side?
Yeah. You could just.
Yeah, there is.
And couldn't you make one of the brothers black?
Yeah.
Would that work? Well,
or Native American, or
yeah. I mean, you
could. Hog could be.
You can make Chinese.
Yeah.
Asian. Yeah. Or Mexican. El Jefe Hog. Oh, you could remake it. It was a fun TV show.
It was. It was different times.
Different times. Don't remember any racism in it. Just the fact the car was named after the leader of the Confederate South. You've got some more news.
Moving on. And in Tesla makes an ugly thing even more ugly news is the ultimate mini home. Oh man! Is the ultimate mini home on wheels.
Put
incredible
a Waterloo on the back.
I know. £50,000 accessory on the Lander has been unveiled for the Tesla Cybertruck that turns into a camper. Ooh, I say, complete with shower, cooker, toilet seats. We've got a great thing later on in the show, which is the pop of the week, which is what this reminded me of. It has a cooker, toilet seats, and transforms into a double bed. There's even a sink with voice-controlled tap.
Yeah.
Tesla CEO.
What does it say? Please kill me. Buy another car.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk, the South African, unveiled the Cybertruck the first time in November 2019. Famously managed to shatter the two of the vehicle's bulletproof windows during the launch event. In July, Musk revealed that production is now being delayed to sometime in 2022 over battery shortages. Not battery shortages, but shortages of supplies of batteries. The all-electric truck's body is based on the 1976 Lotus Esprit. Oh, okay.
Roger Moore would have loved it.
Musk owned a 2030, which he owned in 2013, and the rest of the design pulls inspiration from vehicles like Blade Runner, Mad Max, Back to the Future, and Alien. The team behind Cyberlander says the camper attachment for Musk truck will make it perfect for wilderness and urban adventures. It is also high tech, just like its mother vehicle. When it's not in use, the Cyberlander will become completely invisible. Really? Folding in stealthily inside the Cybertruck's rear and folding at the press of a button on an app. That looks a bit shit.
a bit. Do you remember Jeff? Was the Top Gear car? Look, there's Jeff when they tried to make an electric car. It looks like that. What? Has he watched Top Gear and gone, oh yeah, I think it'd be a good idea. I watched this program, Top Gear, the other day, and yeah, I think it'd be a really good thing if we put a chemical toilet on the back of my awful truck. It does look like Homer Simpson designed this.
Yes, it is. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer designs a vehicle. It's exactly like that.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great thing to have. And I watched this other program called Gear Top. They had this car called Jeff, and I thought, well, that's great. You couldn't make this up. It's King's New Clothes, really, isn't it?
Yes.
The Emperor's New Clothes.
Emperor's New Clothes.
Emperor's New Clothes. Yes, you're not naked at all. It looks fantastic. Hang on, I've got my things in a. Is it me next?
It is.
Yes. That's not finally, though, is it? Or is it finally?
It is finally. It is finally.
It's finally. And finally, in Romanian Renault proves to be reliable news. Shock horror. What Car's annual reliability survey has shockingly revealed that the Dacia is the second most reliable car brand in the UK, just behind the Lexus. Fiat was rated the worst for dependability, while the Britain's most bought make, Ford, also slid towards the bottom of the table. The poll of more than 16,000 motorists in Britain revealed What Car, which conducted its reliability survey annually, ranked 30 brands and 178 models in total for how well they survived the test of time. The survey was for drivers of vehicles up to 5 years old. More than 16,000 drivers were asked whether their car had gone wrong in the past 12 months, how long repairs took, and how much they cost. With the overall score expressed as a percentage, Lexus claimed the top spot for reliability charts, with the Japanese brands historically dominating the top end of dependability rankings. But the cheaper Dacia, the Romanian budget brand that's owned by Renault, ranked just behind Lexus with a 97.3% manufacturer rating. However, What Car says its survey performance demonstrates that you don't have to break the bank to buy a dependable model, with the budget vehicle maker shaming more premium brands like Mercedes, Porsche, Jaguar, Land Rover, all which appear in the top 10 bottom. Let's take a quick look at the top and the bottom. So the most reliable are from 1 through to 10. So it starts off with Lexus, 98.7, Dacia, 97.3, Suzuki, third, 97, along with Hyundai. Then we've got, so that's third, fourth, fifth Toyota, and which is quite low. I'm surprised at that. And Mini coming in. So Simon, so you're doing well with the Mini. Then Mitsubishi at 96, Mazda at 95, Kia at 95, and MG, the Chinese MG, nothing to do with Morris Garages, at 95. Honda not in the top 10, which does surprise me a lot, because I've driven Honda and found them incredibly reliable. Least reliable, number 1, Fiat, 82%. Then Land Rover, then Ford, joint with Nissan, or we might as well just say Renault, Alfa Romeo, then Porsche, then 7th is Mercedes-Benz, Vauxhall and Peugeot, and 10th is Jaguar. Not surprising.
So a couple of things about this.
Go on.
A couple of things. I think this is a load of rubbish.
Yes.
Simply because Lexus, how many of them do you see on the roads? Dacia, not high volume.
Nope.
Suzuki, not really high volume. Hyundai, relatively high volume. Toyota, yeah, I would always put Toyota up in there. But the others, Mitsubishi, Mazda, Kia, MG, they're not very popular cars.
No,
compared
certainly.
To
Yes.
Fiat, Ford, Alfa. Well, it's Italian; it will break down anyway.
I mean, we're talking how many? I mean, the Ford Fiesta is the most.
That's what,
popular car in the UK.
100,000 units a year. So that's one thing. The other thing I would say though with Mini, when it does break down, it will break the bank.
Yes, because it's German and it is owned by BMW. And when we go wrong, we go catastrophically wrong. This is why they lost World War II. All their posh tanks, all their posh Leopard tanks and the Panzers were incredibly difficult to fix. Whereas the Sherman tanks the Americans had were half the power, but you could literally take the engine out, fix it, put the engine back in a day. Whereas, oh no, my Panzer has to go back to. Is the warranty still good on this? It has to go back to the factory. And that's
German cars not built like how they were. You've got Porsche sick from bottom, Mercedes in there because they're not built like Mercedes anymore. Interesting, Vauxhall and Peugeot, which is now the same company.
Oh yes,
the same thing.
I keep telling my mother-in-law that Vauxhall haven't been Vauxhall for 10 years, and she keeps buying bloody Vauxhalls. And when she had a 1994 four-door Corsa, she was the only person to have the four-door, not the Corsa. What was the one before the Corsa?
The Nova.
Nova. She had a four-door Nova
with
a boot.
Oh wow!
And I took that car to Ipswich on holiday. She let me borrow the car, and it was amazing. It was like driving a tank. And one of my idiot brother-in-laws went into the back of somebody and wrote it off. But it was a solid car.
Ooh.
And progressively, then she had a Cavalier, and that was, I think she did 200,000 on that, and then the door fell off. The back door fell off at a junction once. She sold that for 35. But the recent years, I keep saying you're not buying Vauxhall anymore. This is effectively Peugeot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't buy a Peugeot. Is Peugeot, yes.
Peugeot, PSA, Peugeot Citroën Group. Yeah.
So I keep telling her, please stop buying this car. But you're right though. You are right, because Honda's not in there, and there are a lot of Hondas around. There's a lot of there's a lot of people who look like this. Hello, who drive Hondas. I've had it since 1982 and it's still driving okay. Excuse me. Yeah, so I would say that you're not. A good way to work out what is reliable. Make a mental note when you're on the motorway of the cars you see broken down. And I've been doing this for about 5 years now. And I've seen Audis and I've seen Fords. I saw a Citroen the other day. Never ever seen a Toyota. Never ever seen a Honda. Never ever seen one of those broken down. Just a thought. I've seen a lot of Fiats.
Some motoring advice for you.
There you go. That's free. You can take that. You can take that to the bank. Should we have some music? Because I believe it is time for the classic car selection. Strike up the bands. Bit of bossa nova this week.
And that's new.
Yeah, the heroine's kicked in.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, it's got smooth, isn't it? Thank you, band.
Fantastic. It is the classic car selection. Don't forget, later on in the show, we have the letters. We've got also the Pop of the Week is back, and also the quiz. But first, we're going to talk about classic car selection, and that is a section of the show where we kind of pick a diamond in the rough, really. And usually there are cars that you pour a lot of money into, because that's what it is like owning classic cars. This week, we're trying to dispel the myth that Italian cars aren't very good, because some of them actually are all right. This week it is the Alfa Romeo GTV, or in brackets Type 916, which is the coupe version. They had a Spider version of these, and it was of course produced by the Italian manufacturer between 1993 and 2004. Would you like to have a look at this sexy beast here?
Yes, please. Yeah, you see, they're not. It's a good-looking car.
It is.
Was the other one the Spider?
Yes, the Spider one.
Spider, wasn't it?
Yeah. Essentially the same car. The GTV was a 2+2 coupe and was joined by the Spider, as we said. The two-seater roadster version. Around 39,000 Spiders were produced and 41,700 GTVs were built. GTV's name, which if you didn't know, means Gran Turismo Veloce, I think, which in English means Fast Gran Tourer. Placed it as the successor to the long discontinued Alfetta GTV coupe, and the GTV was available until the launch of the Brera, which is also a sexy car, in 2005. It was designed by Enrico Puglia. Yes, at Pininfarina, hence why the beautiful styling. The GTV was planned to re-establish the sporty coupe tradition of Alfa Romeo in the 1990s. The design dates back to initial renderings of in September 1987, with clay models being produced in July 1988. The car was based on the then current Fiat Group compact car platform, which was called Tipo 2, or Type 2. The front suspension and drivetrain was all based on the 1992 Alfa 155 Saloon, which, if you didn't know, was the very successful touring car. The Alfa Romeo grille and dual round light headlights was a motif which then was later used on later adverts. You see the adverts? Alfas, the little round lights and the grille. Details included a rear bumper fog light indicator strip. There you go. This is unusual. It's quite a nice rear end.
So yes, it sloped. That rear end sloped, didn't it?
Yeah, and it's just got a strip of lights across the rear of the body, with minor instruments in the center of the console of the car being angled towards the driver. It is at its launch, many journalists commented that the Alpha
So your wife
had.
can't see how fast you're going.
Yes.
I need that. See, I've got a piece of plywood between me and her. So, how fast are you going? How fast does it feel?
See, in my car, there's a big dining room plate speedometer in the middle.
Oh, so the Mini is the housewife's choice. Donald, you're going far too fast in that car. Please slow down.
Yes. It was always angled towards the driver. At its launch, many journalists commented that the Alpha had improved overall build quality considerably, and it came very close to equaling its German rivals. So that's one of the reasons why we've chosen it as the classic car this week. Since it is an Italian car, what problems do you look for? Well, all engines require a cam belt change every 36,000 miles or 3 years. A fresh engine oil at 8,000 miles. A diesely rattle at idle means that the cam variator is about to fail. It should be changed with the cam belt. You should check oil quality for fuel dilution and frequency of changes. On all engines, rough running and misfiring may be due to poor timing, or on the V6 engines, a faulty mass flow air sensor, or worse, head gasket failure. The V6 pull clutch gets heavy and notchy when warm. Check for smooth gear changes and swarf build-up at the end casing, which causes fifth gear selection issues. So you might just have to go for 4 gears. On the V6, the budget for a quaif, a limited slip differential. I thought that was a rude word, quaif.
I was going to say, isn't that when the lady's boo-boo makes a sound?
Yes, it is. That's what it is.
Or is that queef?
You are. Lower front wishbones wear at each end, causing the front tyre and inner shoulder to wear. Bushes on the rear suspension to wear. They advise replacing it with pure polyurethane items on the bushes. On the V6, feel for warp discs on the front. Check tyre pressures. The alloys can oxidize, causing a poor seal as well. In terms of bodywork, though, check the seals, footwells, and jacking points for rust, because it's a 90s Italian car. Check the windows work, and on later cars that the glass drops 10 millimeters or a centimeter when you open the door. My car does that. And check that the rear heated screen, check the rear heated screen, because it can burn out its connector, or worse, the fuse box. So how much would you pay for a coupe like this? Well,
£8. Sorry, go on.
A couple of £1,000 will buy you a high miler, but you need not spend more than £3,500 for this car, this particular one, which is a 2004 2-litre vehicle with 88,000 miles on the clock, so not particularly high. That will get you'll get you that for £3,250, but spurge a little under 7 for the more desirable V6, and you can buy one of those with 85,000 miles on the clock for £6,995. So not too bad.
Now,
you just got to make sure that your car doesn't break down.
A couple of things. Yes. It's an Alfa Romeo. The reason you buy an Alfa Romeo is, one, the styling.
Yes.
Two, and I've never driven an Alfa Romeo. I've never owned an Alfa Romeo. But the second reason is the engines sound wonderful, and I'm told perform fantastically. That being said, if you are going to buy this, it's all about maintenance and history. I would want a logbook that's immaculate. I want to see that thing has been serviced, not at Fred Bloggs' garage around the corner, but at somebody that knows what they're doing. You need an Italian car specialist to work on this car. One of the big reasons is cam belts. That will not have one cam belt, but 3. And what they used to do is garages have got a history of just replacing the main cam belt and not replacing the other 2. And then when it fails, it's catastrophic. I've got 2 mates that have had 145s written off because the cam belts have not been all replaced. The whole kit, it comes in a kit.
So the pistons will then collide into the.
Oh yes. £3,500. One of the guys was a complete write-off. The other guy, it was a £3,000 fix.
Yeah,
because the pistons went up and destroyed all the head.
Bent all the valves. Yeah.
Bent all the valves. That kit has to be applied every time you change the cam belt. The whole kit. You can't just change one belt. This is not a utilitarian car. This is not a Honda.
It's a
Like,
working well.
I can't work out why Fiat don't ring up Honda and go, you know, some of those engines you got on the Accord. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Can we have a load of those? Ooh. I've turned him into George Takei, whoever is Mr. Honda. You may have some of our engine. I mean, that would make more sense. You get a good-looking car that drives and
Yeah.
doesn't blow up. But obviously, it's an Accord engine, and the variable valve timing will be really, really boring. This is an exciting alpha.
Yes.
There's a guy
Lovely
around the corner
sound.
from me who's, I think he's Portuguese. He's got a little Portuguese flag on his car, and he drives one of these. And I see him driving around in it. And he's an old guy, and you can see he absolutely loves it. He's even
Yeah.
got he's got the soft top with a silver luggage rack on the back.
Ooh,
And
nice.
yeah, it does look very cool. It's a very cool looking car,
It is.
but it's all about maintenance. And if it were you, be prepared. My cousin's husband has not the Brava, the Brera. Is it the Brera?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he spends a lot on this. Yes, so the one he's got hasn't got the spoiler on the back. He's got a silver luggage rack.
Ooh.
It looks it's a nice looking car, and look, 90s cars are starting to go up in value. I think that's a bargain to be had, but just maintenance. Expect to spend money, and in the same way as if you were buying an old Jaguar, I'd say, well, it's an effing money pit, and you'll never get your money back. But enjoy it. If you want to buy a classic car, I think it's not
a good
it's a
weekend car.
Bargain to be had for $6,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I
Mm.
think so.
So thank you very much for that. That's you can get hang on, I've got where are my details here? Yes, if you want to suggest a car for the show for the classic car selection, you can get in touch with us in the usual place. It's email the Car-Boyz at car-boys@outlook.com, Facebook car-boys at Car-Boyz with the 4 Z's, Twitter us car-boys at car_boys with a Z, and Instagram at car_boys with 3 Z's. We'll try and get your stuff onto the airwaves. I believe it's time for the Lost Highways. Yeah, let's stop that. Thank you, band. It's Lost Highways time now on Car-Boyz, and regulars will know feature. It's where viewers email in and give us their favourite roads and the reason they love them. I've taken over. I do apologise. It could be a quiet coastal road that leads down to the sea. Alternatively, it could be a straight 2-lane blacktop that leads to infinity and invites you to gun the pedal to the metal. Whatever your poison, let us know your perfect driving road here at Car-Boyz. I'll flash you up the old details once again.
But by the way, big hello to all the people that have been joining in recent weeks to our Facebook group. We've had quite a few people joining up. So
fantastic. Hello, new Facebook folk. That's good.
Hello. And first into Car-Boyz inbox this week is TJ, who writes in and says, "Dear Car-Boyz, liked your Facebook Live this week." Oh, that must have been the Facebook Live that we did at the British Motor Show.
A week or so ago.
He thought he'd write in with his favourite drive, which is in Fuerteventura.
Nice.
It's a relatively stress-free drive around the island, especially the main road, which is the FV1, which runs for about 30 kilometres from Puerto del Rosario to Corralillo. Corralillo.
Lejo.
Some of it has recently been opened and updated. That said, the roads are in good condition, and in most parts they drive on the right-hand side of the road. The island is much flatter than some of its neighbouring islands, such as Tenerife or Gran Canaria. So that means that there's less challenge. They are less challenging and winding. You want to visit the dunes, which is the beautiful drive through the national park, and it gets busy on Sundays. That's when most Spaniards have the day off. Don't most Spaniards have the day off anyway, any day?
Don't most Spaniards have the day off from Monday through to Sunday?
Yes. And he says
I got a little 2-hour lunch and a little siesta, and I come back to work at 6:30 for 30 minutes, and then I go to sleep.
He said his recommendation is to be careful when parking on the sands, as many who do end up getting stuck. So
you don't want that. My uncle went to Fuerteventura about 30 years ago, and he hired a dune buggy, and he loved it. He said there's nothing to do there. It's very boring. There's sand, there's bars, there's a few people going taking the Sunday off. My wife has been working with Spaniards, and she's like phoning them up and going, "The office is closed." What office is closed? in the UK between 9 to 5. You go, if you work in an office, you tend to go, well, I'll go for lunch first. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Stagger it.
And then I'll be back at 1:30. And are you okay to go at 1:30? Yeah, it's fine. No, the whole of the office is closed between 12 and 2. She's like, what?
12 and 2? That's 2-hour lunch break.
So no, it's 1 hour to eat my paella. And then it's 1 hour to have a little siesta. And then I come back to work. Maybe.
Maybe
not. Oh, slightly racist, but never mind. Meanwhile, we go to the other end of the world. We go, well, yes, we do. We really do go to the end of the world. Lulu in Perth. I don't know whether it's Australia or Scotland.
Ooh,
if it's Australia, go hello. If it's Scotland, go hello. She emails in and says, if danger is more your thing, guys, you need to take on the Prithvi Highway in Nepal. It's not for the faint-hearted, and it varies in condition from the Kathmandu Valley to Pokhara. No, let's get this right. Pokharato. Since it follows the terrain, it's only a 2-lane single carriageway stretching 108 miles. But what you're getting is a road where there are no major intersections and no major traffic lights. No passing lanes are provided. Speed limits aren't applied on most sections of the roads, except some warnings near urban and town areas and a few sharp bends. There are many sections of the highway with roughness, undulation, and sharp bends, which makes the highway unsafe to drive. Death tolls due to being hit by vehicles are high. Speeding and unawareness of other road users are creating hazards for both parties. However, new road safety furniture has been installed along the highway. I can imagine the quality if it's Nepal. To make you aware of impending hazards. I put a balloon up, just a balloon to warn you. I fucking warned you now. That being said, you'll be driving on the road that runs past historical towns, beautiful temples, and a series of deep river valleys. Hence the risk of landslides.
Ooh.
Genius. Well, Lulu, I've been to Nepal about 20. Actually, it was 20 years ago because it's 9/11 tomorrow. Because I flew out just after 9/11, which was interesting, to Nepal. My memory of it is going up in a car which had no dashboard. We flew to somewhere called Pokhara from Kathmandu. No dashboard. The gear stick didn't have a knob on the end. It was a Corolla, strangely enough. The back seat was covered in a beautiful Indian carpet because the seat had gone, and our driver ran out of petrol. And I was like, why has he stopped? And he ran across and flagged another car down. Some money exchanged hands. And he had like an oil can. And I thought, we need some oil. No, it was petrol. No, don't worry, just getting some petrol. Back in the car we went. Is there a problem? No, there is. And I'd no way drive on Nepalese roads. And they're right about landslides, because when we walked at the end of the monsoon season, which is September, and when we were walking through the Himalayas, it was like there was just landslides all the time. Oh, we can't go this way. There's a landslide. I'm like, okay. I'm used to walking in the Lake District, which is very different from the Himalayas. But if you want to take your life in your hands, good luck with that. Not for me. There you go. And I will go on dangerous roads. I've driven in the Dominican Republic. I've driven in Malaysia. I've driven in Indonesia. I know dangerous roads, but Nepal was just a little bit too far for me. Anyway, you can email all the usual stuff and get your favorite driving road onto Lost Highways. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as they say. And I haven't queued up the music, but of course you will know. I could do the music. It's very easy to do. You will know when I start to play this what we're referencing next, if I can find it in here. Yes, it is in here somewhere. Yeah. Come on. No, it doesn't. It doesn't want to play now. Hang on. Here we go. Does it want to play? There you go. There you go. That fart sound effect. There we go. And again. Here we go. It means. What does it mean, Simon?
It means it's Pick of the Pups.
It does indeed.
Which, of course, is back by popular request on the show. It is Turd of the Week / Pick of the Pups. It is where we get the viewers to send in pictures of the worst car they've seen, and we show it off to the world. It could be a 1.1 Ford Fiesta Popular Plus with a huge exhaust pipe, with dub valves, whoosh, and a K&M filter. Or it could be a 1996 Vauxhall Cavalier covered in rust when its rear bumper gaffer taped on. Whatever the car is, you can send the amount of feces to be crowned the polished Turd of the Week, aka Above the Week, Turd of the Week, all of that. Send us
Up
all
of the week.
pictures. This week, Rich, what have we got?
We've got a new sponsor for the show. I forgot to mention it earlier on. It's Biden Water. Biden Water. The taste of forgetfulness. I think they've sponsored us before.
Yes, yeah, they have. Yes, maybe they forgot.
Don't quite know where I am. What are you saying, young fella? Yeah, it's amazing. Sorry. This week, I'm getting distracted there. This week, the car was spotted by an eagle-eyed viewer. Pick of the Pups was Steve from Rochester. He spotted this in the Daily Mail online. He said this is the funniest thing he's ever seen and should be nominated for Pick of the Pups. The story, if you can call it that, revolves around a bloke called Phil from Bedford, who rather than buy a Bedford van to convert it to a camper, decided to convert his 107, I should say, Peugeot into a camper van for a holiday in Wales. The DIY savvy father, yes, literally made his son's dreams come true by transforming his hatchback into a tiny motorhome and affectionately naming it the Cramper Van, although we believe it should be called the Crapper Van. He spent £25 and 6 hours. 6 hours, really, converting his Peugeot 107 so his son could experience a snug night away in Merthyr Tydfil. Yes, the Benidorm of the North. The mattress sits on top of 2 plywood panels used to level off the fully reclined seats and folded down back seats, while black fabric is used as blackout curtains to guarantee a peaceful night's sleep. The electrician also claims he saved £20,000 by not shelling out on a motorhome when he posted the idea on Facebook. And Facebook users apparently were quick to commend him. There he is in the back. Or there's his son in the back.
Oh dear. So what's he done? He's put some plywood into the back of his car, and that's basically it. Anyone who has slept in a car overnight, which I have done, as done many times, you will know that it isn't the hardest thing to do. And if you try this in the winter, you'll wake up frozen solid. At least in the UK, and certainly, definitely in Wales, that's what it'll do. It's an awful vehicle.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know why he's done. I find it very amusing that he's the worst thing for me is 6 hours. How have you spent
£25?
And how much is plywood? I thought plywood's quite cheap. How why is plywood?
So he spent 6 hours and £25, and how much has he devalued his car?
Oh, by quite a lot, I would imagine.
That's awful.
It's just absolutely horrendous and deserves mucho of this sound effect. I don't know why is he just, unless, I mean, it beggars belief, really. Look, we've all slept in car. All he's done, and I do
just
thank
some planks of
you've
wood
just
in
put some plywood in there. But how does that take 6 hours to cut up 2 pieces of plywood? And
you did have to put a curtain in.
And a bit of curtain. You could just use some newspaper. But well done. That's definitely the Pick of the Pups.
Oh dear.
And the best thing was when you went, well, where did he go? He went to Merthyr Tydfil. Why? Why didn't you go to Cornwall? Has he got a dump valve on that? What's that there?
I thought I was, but I think he might have painted it. I think that could be a paint can or something, possibly.
Oh, that's rolled underneath the car.
Unless it's an exhaust. I don't know. I don't think that's
Well done. So, if you want to get your pick, well done for Steve for spotting this plonker. Very creative with his stylings. Piece of plywood in the back of the car. Deserves to be the Pup of the Week. Hang on a second.
Time to move on.
It is. It is indeed. Thank you, band.
Letterbox. It is, of course, time to delve into the mailbag, which, of course, Rich likes to us, is bulging. It's a
bulging bag.
sack.
Bulging mailbag.
Carl writes to us from Southwest London. He says, "Hello, boys.
Oh.
I hope you're all good. I have a 19-year-old petrol Ford Focus. Good car, but a bit boring. I want to get something newer, but still a hatchback. I need to. Well, you should get one of these. So I need to get my kids and stuff in the boot. So big boot space. He's concerned about the ULEZ, which will be extended out towards him. So he needs a car that will be able to go in and out of London reliably. It must. He only has £3,000 to spend,
which is not a lot. Not a lot. Second-hand car market very strong at the moment, so you're going to get around about 500 for your Focus. So we're now up to 4.5. Yeah. So 3.5. Sorry. So he had 3,000. So we got. So we had a quick look round. 2009 Honda Accord, LX Tourer.
Oh,
right. 2-litre petrol, ULEZ compliant, 79 on the clock, which is nothing for the VTEC engine. You could put another 80 on there easy. Auto box, very good condition, full electrics and leather. And that's coming at 3,900. So you're going to have to find another 400 quid. But I think that's amazing. 3,900. Oh, it is big. I've got the 2.5 litre saloon. Yes. And it's very reliable, and the boot is huge. But the boot on the Tourer is massive.
Yes.
And it looks like, these cars don't age. You see 2006 Honda Accords, and you go, it doesn't really age that much. And as I said, very reliable. So that's what we'd suggest, possibly, Carl. Meanwhile, Oscar in South Carolina says, hang on, hello, Car-Boyz. Hope you're good. He owns a 2010 BMW 3 Series M Sport, as I've done myself. Oil leak on the driver's side of the engine bay, oil in the engine. His low oil light keeps going off. So what he's been doing, he's been ignoring it and just topping up with engine oil. Well done. What's the problem? So 3 Series uses a soft engine gasket. The oil filter housing gasket is one of the more common failures. In extreme cases where the leak is particularly large, the belt will be affected and may slip off for jamming in the main seal behind the crank pulley. So you need to get this sorted ASAP. You should seal any leaks. But if you're going to need a new oil filter housing gasket, really, it's going to be pennies for the gasket itself, but the garage will probably charge you $500 for labour, $500 that is. Don't go to a dealership.
On the 3 Series, like my Mini, is it the one that the oil filter, you take it off and there's a filter inside, or is it like the old style, normal style oil filter?
No, I don't.
On my Mini, I've got one where you take the top half off and it reveals the little filter inside. And
I had one of these. I didn't change the bloody oil filter. It was somebody else's. And anyway, the thing broke down. I had it for 18 months before I got rid of it. But the most important thing is get it done. The second most important thing is don't go to a BMW dealership. Go to a that specializes in BMWs. And actually probably don't even need to do that because it's a simple old fix. It's not horrendous.
So. Yeah. Moving on, Deirdre in Manchester says, hiya, Car-Boyz.
Hiya.
Loving the show. I own a 2001 Toyota Corolla. Gosh, she must be boring. Tires are looking pretty poor. How much did I pay for a new set?
Send us a picture.
Oh,
legal. Very illegal. Close into
the going on a circuit and driving on slick tires.
Here she is, Deirdre from Manchester. She's just pulled in. She's pulled in. They're changing the actually, they're not changing the tyre ever since 2001, and she's off again. But Deirdre, you do not wait. These days, you do not wait till a white cord comes through. You don't do that. You need to go and get those. She sent us a picture. Those are bald and those are illegal. UK law stipulates a car should have a minimum tread depth of 1.6 millimeters in a continuous band around the central 3/4 of the tyre.
It's a coin, isn't it? Is it a coin, 20p piece?
Yes. So one of those.
Yes. Proper money.
It's the thickness of that. And let's get that up on the camera. That sort of thickness, 20 pence piece. So, if you are going to try and look, just turn your wheel at your front and have a look, because most people drive front wheel drive cars and the back wheels don't wear as much as the front. I imagine. So it looks like she's going to need 4 tires. The first thing is try and find a trusted tire guy, which may sound simple, but there are so many cowboys out there
Yep.
who will rip you off. Have a look online, talk to people. Somebody goes, "Oh, I always go to this guy. He's really, really good, and he's helped me out a lot." And I've got a really great guy. I share who used to be Mike Reed's tire guy. Mike Reed, who was the
comic or the DJ?
No, it was the comic. It's the one that used to go, 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 go on Runaround in the 1970s. And then in the 1990s went, Pat, Pat, I love you on EastEnders. Not Northern, Cockney comedian.
Yeah.
He's really good. So 15-inch Toyota Corolla should be between 100
common sized 15-inch.
Yeah, to 200 new for 4. Don't discount part worn. Because remolds are gone. Nobody does remolds anymore. But part worn mean they've come from other European countries and that have got a lower threshold of wear and tear. I got around 15,000 miles on a remolded tire.
Really?
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And you'll pay about a third to a half less. I just went in to get a tire. I said, "Oh, I've got a nail sticking out of this one." He said, "It's not salvageable. Can you pop a new one on for me?" He said, "I can't get one for it's probably it's going to take me 2-3 days. I've got a remold. I've got a part worn." And I said, "Oh, what's that like?" He went, "It'll be fine." And we did. We got 15,000 miles out of it. So
that's pretty good.
Yes.
Unlike the slick tires that Nigel Mansell-Deirdre has been using.
Unbelievable performance. They're on the circuit today. Yes, Deirdre, please get them repaired. Finally, Colin in Carlisle. I don't know the accent for Carlisle. It's up north. Hello. He owns a 2014 Subaru Outback.
Nice.
Bought the car from a car warehouse. It didn't come with a spare tyre. Just a can of tyre weld gunk to put into the tyre and a little motor that he said you plug into the cigarette point to blow up the tyre. So what should he do? Well, this would be good to get him out of trouble. No, it won't. It'd be a fool. If you reinflate your tyre, first the thing the electric pump is the thing to do. But if the tyre will not reinflate with that little electric pump, you're going to destroy the tyre with tyre weld. You'll not be able to repair the tyre if it's got a little tear. You're going to put tyre weld in it. Also, tyre weld is not going to get you far, and it's not going to really get you above 30 miles an hour.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go anywhere above 30 with just tyre weld in the tyre. So So I would suggest go and buy a space saver with the same bolt pattern that's on your wheels. It doesn't matter if it's a smaller tyre, as long as the bolt pattern matches. Yes. I've got a Honda Jazz. Tire space saver for my Accord. Sorry, I've got an Accord. I use a space saver from a Honda Jazz, which is I think about 14 inches. Tires on my car are 19 inches. But my mechanic was like, "It's fine. You're not going to go over 50 on the it's to get you out of trouble." We found one for you. We went on eBay for a Mitsubishi Outback. It's secondhand, 60 quid. 60 quid. The reason is this will get you home. If you say you're on holiday in France and you need to just bum around France, and until you can find a decent tyre guy to do the job properly, the problem is if you're
eating a baguette at the time and drinking wine
and being lazy, we're just saying, and smelling. It's archetype, I know, but these things happen. Look, you don't want to be at the mercy of somebody just turning up going, "Yeah, I'm going to replace the tyre. It's going to cost you 200 quid." You go, yeah, and that's what you don't want. You want to be able to do it on your time when it's convenient for you. And certainly I remember my wife coming out going, "I've got a flat." And I said, "Oh, just phone the breakdown service." They came out, they put on the space saver. She popped the flat in the back. And then a couple of days later, I took it around to my tyre guy and went, "Can you do this?" "Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. No problems." And we still had another car to go around it. So just go and buy yourself a space saver and stick it in the back of your car. You want to do what you want to do it when you want to do it, not when somebody else wants to do it.
Of course, I can't do that with mine.
I know you can't,
wheel, and I can't fit a bicycle wheel in.
I keep telling you, the answer is to bolt it to the top of your Mini,
like a rally star.
Yes, or bang it. Can we get you a bespoke made frame to put it on the back?
Yes,
of the Mini, and it sits in the frame.
Because we were discussing about people that have bicycles on their car, weren't we?
That's right. Yes, that's right. We went out the other day.
Wheel on there.
You could just put a spare wheel right on the top. Now, of course, if you own a Land Rover, this is that a lot of people in do, especially in London, where Land Rovers get nicked and
Yes.
exported off to foreign parts,
Yes.
usually Africa, is people bolt with locking wheel nuts the Land Rover spare to the roof, not the bonnet, so that you can't
Okay.
drive it into a container.
Yes, clever.
Because if you've got a tracker on it, if you store it in a container, it won't be picked up.
Yeah.
So
Good idea.
you could do that to a Mini. You may need about 10 tires though to stop it getting. We've got to come up with an answer for you at some point. I believe it's competition time
It
now.
is competition time.
If I can find my competition style music. Yes, here we go. Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Competition time now on the show. When I don the 1970s red velvet suit and take on the moniker of a northern comedian who likes to play the clubs. And this week we'll be asking the big question. Has 4 wives. We'll be asking the big question. I don't know why that. They always have 4 wives, don't they? I've had 4 wives. I live in a council flat because I'm having to pay for them to live in the mansions. This week, we're asking the big question of how well you know your brands. You may know the model, but can you remember the manufacturer? For example, if I said Duster to you, it's an old Renault made in Romania, but who is the manufacturer? Of course, it's Dacia from the country that brought you Nicolae Ceausescu. This week, our lucky contestant is a COVID-free, we hope.
Yes.
Simon from North London. How are you, Simon?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this. I've not looked at any of the answers, honestly.
Super, smashing, great. Now, prize up for grabs today is a pair of tickets to the premiere of Car-Boyz, the movie. It's a movie we don't have in production, but when we do, we'll get you some tickets to the premiere. So are you ready? Go on.
Question, is it going to be like the ABBA thing that's just been announced? Are we going to be holograms?
Nope, it's going to be a movie of our lives. Tom Cruise is playing me, and Will Smith is playing you.
Oh, no.
Maybe not.
Oh, dear.
Coming to Miami. Wickedy, wickedy. So, yes, so you're obviously going to want a song released with the movie as well. Car-Boyz, the movie. Wickedy, wickedy. So, yes. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I will then begin. Which manufacturer makes these models? Question 1. The Duke, the Pulsar, and the Navara.
Ooh, that would be Nissan. Unfortunately, the awful Duke.
Are you correct? Yes, you're correct. Founded as the Kashisha Motorworks in 1911, the company went to become Datsun to produce the Z car and more recently the legendary Skyline or the GTR. This Bluebird has been waiting outside a nightclub in Rio's in Doncaster, I believe, since 1987. He's still waiting for his fare that hasn't turned up.
I think that's a prerequisite for any club or any place on a night out, because when we go on a night out, we always see
a Bluebird.
Bluebird, yeah.
I believe it's owned by a gentleman from Thailand. We always see it in Covent. It's always in Covent Garden.
Yeah.
And it's a hatchback Bluebird. Moving swiftly on. Which manufacturer makes these models? The Argo, the 124, and the Topolino.
Oh, I'm guessing because of 124. I'm guessing Fiat.
You are correct again, sir. Fiat, and of course, there's a picture of the Topolino, the forerunner to the 500, an Italian for Mickey Mouse Topolino, which of course should be all Italians' cars should be named that, shouldn't they? Really, because they are a bit Mickey Mouse. Because the front looks like Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Hey,
Walt, like he's wearing a monocle.
Don't be anti-Semitic. Well done. 2 out of 2 so far. So you're going strong here. Moving on to question 3. Which manufacturer makes the following models? This is an easy one. The 307, the 407, and the 207 Spider.
Ooh, I'm going to guess that's Peugeot.
As we say in America, Peugeot. Yes, Peugeot, of course, famed for their bicycles and their condiments dispensers.
Yes.
This one was online the other day for 130 quid.
Really? Wow.
130 quid for a salt mill. Might as well just nick them from the services on the M6 is what I do. Moving on, question 4. Which manufacturer makes these cars? The Alslan, the Elantra, and the Tucson. The Alslan, the Elantra, and the Tucson.
Tucson. I'm going to guess at this one. Not 100% of the Tucson. Isn't that Kia?
So close, but no cigar. It was Hyundai.
Oh, Hyundai.
Sorry. As they say in America, Hyundai. And we have an artist rendering of the latest Hyundai. There it is. I believe that's the accent. It's fantastic.
The coupe version of it.
It is the coupe. They're coming out. Hang on. I'll just do. They're coming out with a shooting brake soon, and that will look more like that. There you go. So thank you very much for that. So one wrong. I'm surprised, but there we go. Question 5. Which manufacturer makes the Twingo, the Scenic, and the 4? Which manufacturer? Twingo, Scenic, and 4.
Renault, or if you're American, Renault.
You're correct again. Well done, sir. Renault. Here's an example of French quality at its finest. I believe that's out in an estate in Glasgow. Look at that door. That blends right in.
It's parked in front of a Nissan Almera as well.
Yes. There you go. Fantastic. There you go. French quality. Moving swiftly on. Question 6. Which car manufacturer makes these models? The S2000, the Igo, and the Yaris.
Oh, Toyota. It'll be Toyota.
No, actually, I got the S2000 wrong. That's me. That's wrong. Because the S2000 was Honda. So I messed that up. So I do apologize. It was a trick question, but the one question, it was the Igo and the Yaris, and let's say the Camry. There you go, Toyota. And here's a worker at the plant in Tokyo having a discussion with his line manager.
Hasn't built enough sewing machines.
You have not built enough. And if you think that's racist, well, all I can say is you shouldn't have invaded Manchuria. Moving swiftly on. Question 7. Well, you did.
Yeah.
You did, didn't you? But you do make very good cars, and I'll continue to buy them. Whatever happened to Grandad in Burma? I'm just saying. Question 7. Which manufacturer makes the C4, the C1, and the C0?
Oh, and they've even made a C5, and it's not Sinclair. That would be Citroën.
Or as they say in France, Citroën. No, I think it's Citroën. Yes, that's right. Well done. You got another one right. You're doing well. So you only got one wrong so far.
Yes.
And here, yes, Citroën, of course, is a picture of their production floor. And furiously busy, as usual, the workers at the Citroën factory.
That picture was taken last week.
That was last week with the newest systems at Citroën. Busy as bees. Working their fingers to the brown.
Busy as baguettes.
Lunch, le déjeuner, 2 hours, mi-cinq. Pour moi. Une petite siesta avec mon ami. Une grande tasse de vin rouge. Which manufacturer makes the following models? The Tiguan, the Touareg, and the Arteon.
Tiguan does VW.
Volkswagen, of course. The new Arteon. I've got a picture of the Arteon shooting brake here, which I think looks gorgeous. Look at that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Look at the back of that.
I'm impressed by that.
£50,000 though, if you want it for a VW. £50,000. I might wait till that goes second hand, but I think that's a pretty car.
They should have known. So that's £50,000. We were talking about previously the what's the big exec car that they made? The bigger than the Passat.
Phaeton.
That's it.
Phaeton.
They made a mistake there. Right car, wrong badge.
Wrong badge. It was the badge.
Just saying, VW, if you're watching.
They should have banged on an Audi badge on that.
Yeah.
They should have said, we're going to make this car. We're going to, because it's effectively, especially the W24, is the same engine as in the Bentley.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a Bentley. I mean, and the build quality on that, they don't have blow heaters in that car. They have a radiator system. So when you open the vents, it radiates heat.
Nice.
If you'd have put the 4 circles of Audi, people would have bought that car.
Yes.
You cannot expect Volkswagen is the identity of that brand. That's why they got in bed with Audi, because they knew Audi is going to be the luxury, VW is going to be
bread and butter
it's
cars.
reliable, it's bread and butter. If you had the Audi badge on that, I would say hotcakes, and also you could charge 50, but I ain't spending 50 on a VW badge.
VW, yeah.
Moving swiftly on. Which manufacturer makes the Picanto, the Rio, and the Sorento?
Kia.
Of course. Well done, sir. You are correct. And here's the pride of the bunch.
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah.
Look at that beauty in a
Has
field.
it got no passenger mirror? Oh my word.
No, I think it got knocked over while the farmer's wife was doing some dogging in that field earlier on.
It's from Essex.
Finally, the Accord, the Civic, and the Jazz.
And the S2000 from earlier.
And the S2000 from earlier on, which we left off. Do apologise. I've rushed it this week.
It would be Honda.
Correct.
Honda.
And here's a picture of one of their younger drivers. Hello there. I love my Honda. You haven't got COVID, have you? You can see my printer's not been behaving well this week.
I thought he'd just been out in the sun.
Yeah, he's been sunbathing by a metal gate. I thought I was doing all right there, son. Look at the state of me here. Nothing wrong with my Honda. I can forgive the Thai Burma Railway if they make cars as good as this. Well done, Simon. You've won it. It's 9 out of 10. It's one of the best you've ever done, and you've won a copy of Car-Boyz. Yes, you've won a copy of tickets to Car-Boyz, the movie. The movie as yet to be made or even commissioned.
Yes.
I believe Will Smith playing you, and I'm hopefully going to be
Someone
played.
did once say The Rock.
Sorry?
It should have been played by The Rock.
Oh yeah, The Rock. I can see
He's
it.
about 10 foot taller than me.
You can. It doesn't matter. It's a movie. It's not. It's not real life.
Yeah, that's good.
So you could be played by The Rock. I could be played. I'm happy. Tom Cruise is fine, as long as he plays it quite straight. I'm just saying. I'm quite macho. Or I'll do or Al Pacino. Maybe we could get really. I could be played by an older version of me. So tired. Gotta do the podcast. Raise my hand, Simon. My dad, my father does look like Al Pacino, and he's very much. He doesn't really. I can say whatever I like. He doesn't listen to this. He can't be bothered. He's too tired. I thought it's your podcast. It's too exhausting. I've got to watch a 30-year-old episode of Lovejoy.
Vivian McShane. Oh,
he loves Lovejoy. He goes, have you seen this? He doesn't sound like a. Have you seen Ian McShane? I say, yeah, I've seen him in Game of Thrones. And he goes, no, in Lovejoy. Yes, I did that 30 years ago when I was a kid. We used to watch it together. It's great. You gotta watch it. Yeah, no, I have watched it 30 years ago. He watches
Once
that.
was enough.
He watches that. He watches the Grand Tour, and that's. I don't want to watch anything else, and a lot of football. And he doesn't like the new Top Gear either, as does anybody else. Do you
Nobody
watch
else,
it?
yeah.
Nobody
No, I don't watch it.
It's a pile of old crap. Because there's people on there that know even less about cars than we do, which is a lot. Thank you very much for tuning in. That's about it from us, the show. We should be back same time, same place.
Very soon.
Very soon, next week at some point, depending on how busy I've been. There you go. Email Car-Boyz said, it's all that. I can't be bothered to go on about it. It's there. We'll be back next time. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. I'm off to Kent to have fun.
Ooh.
Not a euphemism or anything. I'm just going to Kent. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.